the objective with learning about or controlling your disease process with regards to diabetes is actually learning about it, learning how it works, and then trying to find what's out of balance with you and applying it. As I mentioned in the lecture yesterday, I really don't think that it's ever too late to make changes. One of the problems with diabetes is that some people, just during a regular physical wellness checkup or wellness screen, will be told that their sugars are high. About 20 years ago, we used to accept higher levels of blood glucose, and it was suggested that we should lower the bar and find more disease earlier. So now, if you're anything above 100, and I have a previous lecture that I'll put a link to, or hemoglobin A1C, or 2-hour fasting glucose, whatever it is, you will be labeled as pre-diabetic. And just a label, but just like pre-hypertension, it's an omen of things to come. So it really means that after you get the diagnosis, it's not just a matter of the doctor putting you on oral medicines and saying, go see a registered dietitian for lifestyle change. It takes more than that. In fact, sometimes what is most important thing, I think the catalyst for change initially is going to be nutrition. Just because, I mean, there's nutrition, there's exercise and movement, there's relaxation, good sleep, and all that stuff helps. But I think nutrition is the easiest and the most tangible catalyst for change. The problem is there's so much information out there, thus the reason for you all attending the lectures. So much information out there, it's hard to kind of sift through. I have patients that say that they do a lot of research and they try to get good information on what's valid, what's not. The only problem is if you're not a scientist or you're not used to reading results of randomized controlled trials and knowing how to sift through what's good information, what's okay information, and what's just downright dangerous information, you'll be confused and disheartened, and then you fall off the wagon. Insurance pays for seeing a registered dietitian that you can find around you by clicking on this website, eatright.org, which is a great website. Insurance pays for you, most insurance at least, pays for you to see a registered dietitian at least 2 times in the first year that you're diagnosed, and then 1 time every year thereafter, just to make sure that you're keeping honest. Now, as I alluded to in my lecture, if I was going to be your coach for a marathon, the Chicago Marathon, and I meet you 2 times in the year before the marathon and say, I'll see you at the starting line, probably not a good idea, right? I think it's the same thing with diabetes. So although your insurance will only pay for 2 visits, that's just the beginning. You really have to seek out coaches, you have to seek out nutritionists, seek out people, like-minded folks who maybe have the same disease process that you can learn from over the course of time. And it's not one size that fits all. So in the 90s, it used to be follow your caloric intake and see how you do. Keep it at 1,200 calories per day, and you should be okay as long as you keep the caloric intake low. Well, since then, Canada has come up with a glycemic index to measure food reactions in the body, and then with the Atkins and the low-carb diet, people are being aware or made aware of carbohydrate content. So there's kind of different ways to view your nutrition and try in attempts to try to control what is going in. The problem is, again, the average American diet is high in calories, especially processed food, low in fiber, and high in carbohydrates that are really unhealthy. So if you can just get on a 1,000 calorie a day diet, I'm sure you'll do fine. The only problem is, will you be able to sustain that? And probably not. Even my diabetics that just start with a diagnosis, it's hard to maintain anything that's restrictive. And that's why I usually say you can initiate change with a restrictive diet, or if you don't cook, a diet where you have food sent to you every week. But the objective is also to, once you start that restrictive diet, or once you start having the meals roll in, or once you sign up for those things, you really should be planning for the next step. A jump start is always helpful to keep you accountable and to start to see the gains quick. But if you have no plans after the jump start is finished, no one can maintain, very few people can maintain a jump start for life. Those restrictive diets and those detoxes are just very, it takes a lot of energy to maintain them. A lot of grounding, a lot of patience, especially when others around you are eating what they want, when stress around you is uncontrolled, when the temperature changes, like in Chicago. It's now becoming colder with the days as autumn hits, and it will be very cold once winter hits. And usually if you've adopted an exercise routine that gets you outdoors, that's cool. The only problem is, can you continue that through 6 months of winter? If you watch my videos on beginning a walking program, you might be able to. Just have to be careful with ice. But if you have arthritis, if your balance is off, or if you don't like ice, then, or your knees are a problem, or you have Raynaud's, then you're going to probably shut down for the winter, and that's no activity. So the theory would be, with decreasing activity, you decrease your caloric intake even further. Anything lower than 1,200 calories a day is really not healthy. So again, it's more of a matter of personal preference and how to apply the information to your specific lives. All that stuff out there, all the information we gave you yesterday at the Jewel Haskell lecture on diabetes, is all to be applied so you can design your own lifestyle changes to accommodate for you. There is no one size fits all. So if you're not feeling in control, seek out extra help from what I call coaches.